Hello, everyone. This is Brainerd Carey, and today I'm presenting a webinar called Selling Art Online Like a Creative Genius. This is about selling online, and it's how artists and other creative people sell art online, but I'm focused only on artists. This is how artists sell work online, and I'm going to give you a lot of information about that. And if you're uh, interested in asking me more questions, you can ask at the end of the webinar. So let's begin. Raise your hand if you want to know what it takes to make a sale online and how some artists are doing it today. But the words funnels and lead magnets and the sight of Facebook analytics send you running. If you yearn for a clear strategy that allows you to navigate the sales process without feeling like a sellout artist or an artist that is only motivated by money, and you want to do it all, get it all, win it all, without ever having to send annoying letters to friends about your art for sale. If you are sitting there wondering how I could help, how I could know, let me explain. And I see a lot of you are raising your hands. There's a tremendous amount of people in this webinar, so good to hear. I've spent 11 years interviewing over now 1,100 artists and curators from all over the world, and I know exactly what goes on in an artist's brain when they're struggling to sell art online. And this is me. I'm Brainerd Carey. I'm an artist, educator, Yale University radio host, and author of 6 books that are just for artists, and as I said, over 1,100 interviews. These are the 6 books I've written. That's me giving a talk, launching one of my first books at the beautiful Rizzoli bookstore in New York. And I want to be clear that the books that I've written are drawn partly from my experience as an artist, but even more importantly, they're drawn from the many interviews I've done and the experiences that other artists have used and create means for them to survive and generate income, often online. So to begin with, how do you know you're in the perfect place? This is for you if you are a serious artist, and this is for you if you struggle to sell your art online. And this is for you if you're absolutely done with websites that say they will sell your work, but don't. This is for you if you're looking for clear instructions on how to sell your art online without selling your soul, and we all know what that means. This is for you even if you're not the kind of artist that sells work easily because your art is not pretty flowers or decorative, or your work isn't for everyone. Let me start by revealing what I think is a painful truth. You've been misled repeatedly, insistently, shamelessly in many cases, by marketers and websites that claim you can easily sell your work with them like any other product. But you know that your art is not like any other product. Misleading lies like build a store on Shopify and they will come. And if you want to sell, you need to sell yourself. And the most annoying of all is it doesn't matter how good your art is, it is all about marketing. This is exactly what's kept you wondering what's going on, spending money you don't have on websites, ignored, having no sales, and worse, thinking that you have to do something to sell that you are not capable of. Either you don't have the guts to do it, or the process is so dull and soul-sucking that you'd rather chew on rocks, right? Isolated also, from people you love and trying to figure out a way to generate income from all the beautiful work you keep making. So no more, right? That's why you're here. Now you're here, under my wing, under my care, and that alone should make you want to breathe a big sigh of relief because I have proof of what I'm saying. So how will the next 60 minutes change everything? First, there's the reset button. This is where I will turn every single thing you know about online sales around, and you'll just sit there with a happy look of, this is genius on your face. You can take it all. This is where you literally get to take my Praxis system for selling art without selling out and make it your own, so you never have to listen to e-commerce websites tell you why you can't sell without being an aggressive salesperson, which is a lie. And there's insider information. Prepare to be blown out of your chair and into a new world where you can generate online sales without selling your soul, your kidney, or your firstborn. Here is my promise to you. You'll walk out of this webinar knowing exactly what it takes to make a sale and how some of the top artists are doing it today. So you can start generating sales online and build a base of collectors in the next 12 months. Even if you get a sinking feeling in your stomach when you think of sales. And the best part, you won't feel like a sellout artist who is shallow and only interested in sales. Here are some of the gems you'll discover. I'll be talking about a counterintuitive technique successful artists like Jorge Pardo use to generate sales and move forward without having to worry about the constant inner critic that undermines their efforts. The nuances of pricing, how much and where to put pricing. Discover the price scaling secret the biggest selling photographer in America, Peter Lick, uses that makes collectors pull out their checkbooks. What never to do when you sell online, because this is how reputations are ruined and savings get drained. And how to communicate with collectors of your work and encourage without selling them to buy more, so you can build relationships that continue to buy from you. How the most sophisticated artists create automated sales and generate new customers by making a sales funnel. Using this strategy, customers can continually come to you and new relationships are always being built. And why you need to teach collectors how to purchase your art so that they can interact with you without any awkwardness instead of walking away because they were too embarrassed to ask about price. I should also mention that you'll get a free PDF copy of my recent book entitled Sell Online Like a Creative Genius if you stay on till the end. So wiping the slate clean. Why do we have to wipe the slate clean? The danger of the wrong method, danger of the wrong resource, and the wrong execution. So first, the danger of the wrong method. Trying to sell with the wrong method simply results in no sales and frustration. The wrong resource is using the wrong resources to create a sales platform so people can purchase, and it can be a costly mistake, wasting time on websites and promotion. And execution, if your sales strategy is not executed correctly, you will not reap the benefits that you should, and then sales do not happen. Here's proof, irrefutable proof. Abby Ryan sold over $200,000 per year through eBay from her home in upstate New York. It's estimated that $5.4 billion in art was sold online in 2017. The art market's changing, and social media has become the primary way consumers discover art, according to a commissioned study. The survey found that nearly a quarter, 22.7% of art buyers find new works of art via social media, which edged out museums, 20%, and galleries, 15.9%, as buyers' primary source of discovery. And if you're still not convinced, here are some students. When Donna Hammerstone tried to sell art using a website that had e-commerce abilities, she ended up frustrated and disappointed in her friends and collectors because she used the advice of the website she was subscribed to and nothing else. James Dolvin used eBay to sell his art and grew angry and disenchanted because no one was bidding, so he stopped selling art altogether. So the next time you feel like blaming yourself for failing to generate sales online, remember this: not all of that is your fault, truly. It can be a difficult system to navigate with ease and without stress. Today, we will remove the stress and the difficulty and create a system that will allow you to sell your art without selling out. You'll be able to get my secrets for selling art online because I have developed a strategy I call the Praxis System for Selling Art Without Selling Out, which will show you how to generate sales online, build a base of collectors in as little as 12 months, even if you get a sinking feeling in your stomach when you think of sales. So I've been doing this for a while, right? Several years. I have an online system that includes many other courses. I've written a whole series of books, 6 books on development for artists' careers. I've lectured all over the country, and I talk to people on Yale University Radio every week about this. So this is coming from not just experience, but from people that I've talked to who have used a lot of these methods. So I want to get right into this so you can get all the benefits of this and understand exactly what I'm talking about, and to understand exactly what's on the screen here that I'm going to go through. Step one is building a list of collectors. Your email list is still your most important resource and tool when building sales online. It cannot be a list of other artists and family, but instead people who are actually interested in buying and collecting art. Though some of those people might be friends and family, but that's not the list we really want. Most people have no idea how to buy or collect art. So the most important aspect of selling online is to build a list of collectors. That means you at least need to have an email marketing program. Email marketing programs are MailChimp, Aweber, Constant Contact. There's dozens of them out there. Those are three big ones, but there's so many to choose from. It's essential that you choose one of these. It's how the whole list will be collected. Once you have an email marketing program, and maybe many of you do already, you can begin to collect names in several ways. You can have people sign up for your list at Open Studio events. You can make videos about collecting art and how to buy from an artist. You can write small blog posts about how to collect art and buy from an artist. Once those are written, you can create what's called a lead magnet on Facebook and have people sign up for art collecting tips. You can also send a newsletter to your list on a weekly basis and share tips on collecting and talking to artists about sales. And the idea of these examples is to build a list of the right people, not other artists, but collectors who are interested in buying art. Most of them know very little about art to begin with. So if you walk them through the details of how to talk to artists and make a sale, it'll make all the difference in the world, because they actually don't know how to do that. So in Praxis Center, members have their newsletter reviewed, just so you know, from writing blog posts to pulling in collectors. It's carefully worked on so you have support the whole way and detailed attention to what you're doing. I'm giving you everything here in this webinar, but if you want more support for exactly how how your steps are coming along, I'm here for you. I got your back. That's what this is about. But let's keep going through every bit of this. Interacting with collectors is key. You want to write to those collectors every week. In the last several slides, I was talking about a little bit about how to build those lists with your e-marketing program, whether people are signing up manually in your studio, whether you're making blog posts and people are signing up online, or whether you're creating a lead magnet, which I'll explain more towards the end of this. You'll have a steady stream of people signing up. But you want to communicate with collectors of your work and encourage without selling them to buy more, because you want to build relationships. It's not simply, this is for sale, do you want it? You want to build relationships. Sending them some kind of a newsletter, even a snapshot of what's happening in your studio every week is enormously important. And saying the right things in there is important. You can use email or Facebook Messenger to dialogue with your collector who will be asking questions about your work. Because what happens is, through these newsletters you're sending out, people are going to contact you. They're going to say, I'm interested. So they may contact you through email or Facebook Messenger or another type of, direct messaging system. So one tip is to show them a page of work. And when they say, what's for sale, and discuss the work of them by asking which one is their favorite piece. That's an easy way to start out, right? You show them a page, here's 12 works. And you, rather than saying, here's work that's for sale, let me know which one you like. That's difficult for people often to choose what they like. So start off asking them a question so they have to respond. Say, which one is your favorite piece out of this page? And you're showing them one page on your website. Then tell them a little bit about why that's special and compliment them. Tell them about how the work was made, the medium, and if appropriate, the message of the piece, and then offer them a payment plan as well. This is not unlike how a gallery sells a painting. Not long ago, I walked into a gallery with my wife, and there were Salvador Dali prints on the wall. We took a look around, didn't stay that long, and as we were walking out, the gallerist said to us, excuse me, can I ask you a question? She said, excuse me. And so I stopped and turned around, and we both said, sure. And she said that to me. What's your favorite piece? And I pointed to it, from where I was. I didn't really think about it, but I pointed to one. And then she asked me, she said, can I tell you a little bit more about it? Would you mind? And I agreed. So so let me tell you a little bit more about that. I'm going to tell you the story of how I almost bought this painting. So she said, she took me over to the Dali print, and she starts telling me, this is an etching Dali made, and we're using the original plates, and we made editions of them. And she said to me, if you look closely at this print, you can see this is one of his beautiful prints. The color, the line work. She said, it's one of my favorites too. You're really sensitive. You seem to have a great sensibility for looking at art. She's complimenting me right away, right? She's telling me I'm somehow sensitive to art and able to pick what's good. So, I'm warming up already. And she says, let me tell you a little bit about this. And she starts explaining that certain symbols in there, which I couldn't read too clearly. She said, these symbols are about how, Dali was trying to get married to his fiancée Gala, and the church wouldn't do it. And he was angry at the priest because they weren't letting them get married in the Catholic Church because he was divorced once before. This painting was about him being upset about to the church and about what he wanted to do, which is get married with his wife in the church. That was kind of interesting, right? And then she keeps telling me more and says, this is a very special edition. We have parties for people who have this edition. And she said, a lot of people have bought this, and Mick Taylor owns a piece, and I didn't know who Mick Taylor was, some kind of rock star, but rang a bell, but I didn't know who initially. And she said, for anybody who owns one of these prints, you get invited to special gatherings. And I said, I was thinking, all right, well, whatever. I'm not going to buy a Dali print. And then she said to me, as I was saying, thank you, we have to go. She said, well, do you like this print? And I said, yeah, I do. And she said, well, you could have it for $200. And I said, what? And she said, $200 down is all you need to put to own this piece. It's $3,500, but for $200 down today, this framed piece is yours. We can work out a payment plan, whatever you like, and this could be hanging on your home in no time. And suddenly I'm looking at this Dali print that in some ways was kind of garish in this huge frame, but I'm imagining it in my apartment, and eventually I said, thank you, but I'm not interested. But she brought me fairly close to a sale, and I was not interested in that at all. So you can use the case history I just told you, combined with what I mentioned earlier. You're engaging your potential collector this way. It can start by messaging, and then you can call them to talk or finish the sale with the first payment from PayPal.me. PayPal.me is a way to easily make a link. You want the whole process to be as simple as possible. And if they say to you, let me ask my husband or wife first, you can always say, as someone online said to me the other day when they wanted me to buy something, they said, okay, you can talk to your husband or wife first, but why not surprise them? You can always exchange the work if you're not happy with it. I mean, these are specific lines that will work, that bring people that much closer to a sale. I want to talk about other sales strategies. Jorge Pardo, who's an internationally known artist, he makes paintings, drawings, also lamps and different types of furniture. He told me he created the idea of a subscriber to a series of works that were not yet made. So some people like getting surprises in the mail each month. There's wine clubs and all kinds of clubs now where they they send you something in the mail that you're not sure what it's going to be, a surprise. And people subscribe to this, kind of like a book of the month club. And it's common. He thought, why don't I do that with some of my art? So he wrote an email to his list and he said, listen, I'm starting a subscription service, and for $600, I think it was like he said, it'll renew once a year. So in other words, the subscription is actually $1,200 a year. But he said, if you want to subscribe now for $600 for 6 months, what's going to happen is in the next 6 months, probably more towards the 5th or 6th month, I'm going to send you a surprise, and it's going to be a work of art. It's going to be a lamp that I made just for my subscribers. So he sent that out. In other words, they don't know what they're getting, right? The first year he got 30 subscribers at $600. That's kind of handsome, right? That's $18,000. He said the next year he sent that out and he got 90 subscribers for $54,000. You're asking people for $600. Now you have to remember that this is a 6-month subscription that renews. So actually the first year from his 30 subscribers, he got $36,000 if they all resubscribed. And he said most of them did. The next year, he got over $100,000 from that. You know, he hired people to help him even assemble these lamps. The lamps were kind of die-cut pieces of plywood that were then assembled according to instructions. He shipped them flat. Buy your own bulb and put it in there. There's a lot of ways you could use that particular strategy, subscriptions. But to talk a little more about engaging collectors, you have to teach them how to buy. As Jorge Pardo just did in that last one, that was one way of telling them, look, you want a surprise every month? He's selling work before it's made. He's showing them how to do it. But why you need to teach collectors how to purchase your art is so that they can interact with you without any awkwardness instead of walking away because they were too embarrassed. Collectors are afraid to ask, how much is it? Because they don't know. They think they might insult the artist. What if they don't know how to get it? You know, what if they don't know how to afford it, or they can't afford it? So, you know, when a collector writes and says, how much is it? Or even before then, part of engaging them is explaining how a sale is made. And this may seem, you know, very obvious to you. You're the artist making work. It's simply, do you want to buy this work? If it's too much, okay. But there's more nuances to it than that, right? That collectors don't know. And I'm not talking about major collectors, people who are perhaps new to buying art. And some of the nuances are, if I ask a price and it's too much, is it insulting if I say, sorry, I can't do that? Or is it insulting if I ask for a discount? That's the things they don't know, and you have to explain to them. Can they ask for a discount? Yeah, they can ask for a discount. And you can also refuse to offer them a discount, but there's nothing wrong with asking. How much of a discount should they ask for? You know, I think no more than 10 to 20%. And again, if they ask for the price and it's beyond what they can pay, they were thinking they wanted to spend $300 and the cost is $3,000. Obviously, bargaining isn't something they can do there because it's way out of their range. But they have to know, and it has to be explained to them that it's okay to ask, and it's okay for your interest to not be possible to close because the price is too much. So for all the members in Praxis Center, this part of the process is made easy. You all walk through it step by step, and each step is reviewed to make sure there are no weak links in your process. You know, the idea of the newsletters that are going out is teaching them how to engage an artist for a sale. You're not simply saying in the newsletters, this is what I'm selling this week. You're also teaching them. I don't know if you've noticed, if you're on the mailing list of places like realtors, if you're ever looking for a home or an apartment, they send you emails. And the emails they send you aren't just, here are the new apartments for sale. Here are the new apartments for rent. Here are the new homes for sale. They send you emails like how to spot if there are hidden disasters in a home, or how to know if your apartment that you're looking at is actually overpriced and you should, offer a lower rent or not purchase. They're giving you information. They're telling you how to buy and how to be a smart, savvy buyer. That makes you trust the place that's sending you more. They're not saying, and then buy these apartments, but it's making you trust them more. And that's the idea, that you want these collectors to trust you. Then there's closing a sale. So you want to make it easy to buy your work, because most collectors are afraid to ask the price. They just are. One artist in Praxis Center, this is a story. He said he sat down with someone. It was at a bar. He was trying to sell work to them. He knew they were very wealthy, and he began talking about selling his work. And this collector, who eventually did buy work, said to him, you make it very hard to buy work from you. The artist was shocked. He thought, how could you say that? Just I have plenty of work for sale. It seems counterintuitive, right? The collector still didn't know how. And he had been to his studio. He had looked at his work. He knew some of the prices, but still he didn't feel comfortable just asking to buy it. There wasn't a system where he could do it easily. After that, this artist began selling a lot more work, and recently he continues to sell a lot more work. Rick Bierhorst was his name. Really wonderful, wonderful artist, painting figurative work that was small. And now he sells much more work because he makes it very easy to buy work. And he was working really hard in his studio before then. He had prints that were lower priced, paintings that weren't even that expensive, but it was hard for him to sell them because he wasn't making it easy to buy from him. So then there's the nuances of pricing. Your prices for original work of art, like paintings, drawings, sculptures, installations, murals, commissions, to begin with, should be based on what you have sold something for in the past. And if you haven't made sales in the past, it should at the very least cover your expenses and shipping and pay you at least an amount that you'll feel comfortable accepting. Don't sell work to people just for expenses. You have to cover your expenses, cover shipping, and have a comfortable amount in there so you feel like you're getting paid and this is going to help. Then, as you sell more, prices can continue to rise as you sell each one. However, there's more aspects to pricing techniques, like where to put pricing on each image in a separate page. What galleries do is they rarely list prices on paintings, but if asked, you will be handed a price list on a page that's quite clear. The price list on that page has a thumbnail image of every piece of art and a clear price right next to it. The idea of price on request is standard, because first you want to allow interest. Just, are they interested? Don't scare them away with a price. And a price too low can drive a collector away, just as a price too high can drive a collector away. However, there are exceptions. Exceptions to the rule of not having prices listed everywhere on your website or blog is the following: eBay sales or online auctions, print editions or multiples, and special editions that benefit a cause. All of these are exceptions. So, for example, for photography and print editions of any kind, there is a tried and true sales method that most galleries and artists use. For example, in a limited edition of 100 prints, photographs or digital work, this is a scaling technique that almost all galleries use that sell editions. And I'm talking about photographs, digital prints, and other printing processes. If it's a limited edition, which is where you can use this scaling technique, not in open editions, because that's unlimited amount of prints, it's like this: print number 1 to number 20, and these are numbered prints that are signed, right? 1/100, and the artist's signature. The way it works is print 1 to 20 is 150 each. Print 21 to 40 is 200 each. Print 41 to 60 is 300. 61 to 80 is 450. And print 81 to 100 is $600 each. See how much it's increased? The print started out at 150, and at the end, they're at $600 each. You know, that's like over 400% jump. That is a 400% jump. I mean, it's huge. So the reason this works is because the people, and the idea behind this is that the people who first buy the prints should be given a better price because they're taking more of a chance, right? They're not following the crowd. They like the work, so they're buying it. The people who are buying it second are realizing, wow, 20 prints of this already sold at $150. You know, $200 isn't that much more. And the gallerist explains to them, these prices keep going up, like right now. It's not in the future they'll go up. As they get sold, as the print edition climbs, the prices climb. So you know right away, if you're buying print 1 to 20, your $150 investment is most likely going to double if they get to print 41, which if you're in a good gallery, they will. So this is the idea of scaling. It's important, and it's also a way of teaching collectors how to buy and how to make a good purchase. So have you ever heard of the artist Peter Lik? Probably not, right? He's the biggest selling photographer in the country. Here's an article that the New York Times wrote on him. Peter Lik's recipe for success, they wrote, sell prints, print money. You know, sadly, they kind of made fun of him in a way. And it was unfortunate because Peter Lik is a talented artist and he's making a ton of money. And they went through his entire process, which was kind of fascinating. And because it was all revealed, I guess the Times was looking at it like, oh, you know, this is all about money. But they could have easily said the same thing about any gallery that's doing the same things, you know, sell photographs, make money. You don't even have to make them yourself, right? I mean, galleries are making a fortune. Peter Lik did his own gallery. This is what one of his pieces looks like. This is a black and white piece that was then colorized. This piece sold for $6.5 million. This is a photograph. Most expensive photograph in the country. He engineered the selling of this, it seems, to a collector who remained anonymous because he told that collector, among other things, you're going to get, you know, international press, wall-to-wall press on this. This photograph is going to get an enormous amount of attention because no one has ever sold a photograph for this much money. And they did. They purchased that. So part of the reason that happened, and the reason I'm mentioning Peter Lik, is that he used the exact same technique. He sold out of his studio initially. The studio became then a gallery that only sold his photographs. And the whole way he sells photographs is using the price scaling technique. He tells everybody, and there's a lot of photographs that don't look like this. Most of them are images of landscapes and fairly straight images. He would tell everybody, look, your image is, you like this image, similar to the gallerist that talked to me. He'd say, you know, you have great taste. This is a beautiful image, one of my favorites. And then he would tell them, you know, this is a limited edition. There's only 100 prints. You could have this one right now for $200. By the time we get to the end of this edition, it's going to be worth $800 or $1,000. So it's obvious to the collector that they're going to make money right away if they trust their instincts. If they go home and talk to their husband or wife, they may lose this opportunity. That's one way of closing a sale. The other is also to offer a money-back guarantee. You can also offer buyers a money-back guarantee, which takes all the pressure off the buyer, feeling like they're not sure, right? You can tell them to live with it, see how they feel about it. It's a great thing to do because most people never return a work of art, and this offer will make more sales than returns. And just to be clear, shipping is not included, of course, and must be paid, both ways. But you can give them their money back. Nobody likes to return a work of art. And when they return it, if they do, which is rare, this encourages a sale. You can also say, would you like a credit in the studio or the money? You can have either you want. Some people say, hey, if you return it, you can get, and you want credit in the studio, I'll give you 150%. That means if they buy a work of art for $1,000 and they want to return it, you can say, I'll give you your money back, or I'll give you $1,500 towards a larger work or a new work, if you like. You can also, offer them, which is this idea, an exchange if they buy up. That means, again, if they want to trade in their work for one that's 50% more in cost, they can do that at any time because it never loses its value. In other words, they have the work for a while, they have it for 2 years, and they decided, hey, we'd like something else. Well, you can say you can trade it in if you buy something that's at least 50% more. So if they bought a work for $5,000, you can say you can trade that right in, and if you spend $7,500 or more, you're not giving them $2,500 or more. You're saying you can trade in that as long as you're buying something more expensive. This is a common technique when people are buying precious gems from stores. You want to trade in that ruby, that diamond, whatever it is, you can trade it as long as you're buying one of greater value, a certain amount. That encourages buyers to take the risk. So the method I've discussed so far are using your own website to sell your art, as well as Messenger and the phone to close sales with PayPal.me, which is a very simple thing to put up. But what about eBay, Instagram, and other platforms? Instagram and eBay are both powerful forms. Abby Ryan is an artist that sells over $200,000 a year on eBay. Her method is simple. I've written about her and talked about her before. She posts a small painting, and I mean 4 by 6 inches every single day. She lives in upstate New York, outside of any major city, teaches at a community college. After almost 2 years, I interviewed her and she told me this. She started selling each one for $600. She does it all through eBay sales channels and ships directly. Now, let me be clear what happened in 2 years. She was posting a painting every single day. She would wake up in the morning at a certain time, or maybe it was in the evening, and she'd paint a very small little still life that took her about an hour to do. She has a lot of other art she likes to do, but she learned a technique, a very specific painting technique that looks a little bit like a Dutch master, not hard for any painter to eventually master, from a particular workshop where they taught that. So she would post a painting, and she'd post it for $300 reserve, and she'd put it up there. She wouldn't have any, she'd have a few people bid on it, but it wouldn't sell, it wouldn't meet the reserve. She'd put it up again. She'd relist it, relist it, relist it. She kept doing that, but she was adding a painting on every single day. Occasionally she'd sell one for $300. She kept relisting. She kept relisting. She did this, can you imagine, for over a year with making almost no sales? But now she's got over 300 paintings on eBay, and she's developed a system that took about an hour and a half of her time every single day. She was getting it down. She started understanding a little more about press releases, sent them out, reached out to bloggers, and after about 2 years, they started selling. People started bidding. It was going over $3. It started floating all around $600 a piece every day. They went up a little more than that. By the end of 2 years, they were going more for about $800 a day, every day. She did it all through eBay sales channels, and she ships directly. That's it. eBay is powerful. Not everybody wants to do this, because when you click on eBay, they kind of do advertising for you. I don't know if you've ever gone to eBay and you looked at something. Maybe you looked at art. Maybe you looked at whatever, the toothbrush or something. eBay then starts sending you ads. As you go around the internet, they start sending you ads that say, hey, You wanted this toothbrush. Do you still want it? Starts popping up everywhere. They're kind of doing it for you. So that's I'm just putting these in there because I'm talking about a lot of methods, but that's one. Then there's Instagram. A woman named Ashley Longshore sells paintings from Instagram for upwards of $20,000 each. Her method is essentially she sends out press releases, and in Praxis Center, we help you with press releases, writing them, filling them out, editing them, and phone calls, telling people when something is about to be sold. Just like I'm telling you, she builds up a list of collectors, followers on Instagram as well. And she's also, she loves Instagram. She posts all kinds of things on Instagram that are sometimes bold and outrageous. You can look her up. And as she calls people before she's about to post something, say, I'm about to post a painting. Maybe she calls a few collectors, emails them. Only one person is going to get this. And she puts it up there next to her standing there. These are big paintings often. And she sells them regularly without a gallery. She posts a number of, sends out press releases that then tell people, I'm doing all this without a gallery, because that's the future. I think galleries are important. This webinar, however, is about sales online. Galleries are doing it too. Artsy and all kinds of other websites are selling work online. Gallerists are using it. So remember the story I told you of the gallerist trying to sell me a Salvador Dali print? She mentioned, Mick Taylor bought one of these, who also owns a print and might be at the exclusive parties you'll be invited to in the future. Remember that? Your Mick Taylor could be a friend who is known, a local hero or a political figure, or you could give a work of art to someone like that and always invite them. Your collector may not even know the name, but you can tell them why this person has some glam appeal. Again, I didn't know who Mick Taylor was initially. It sounded, she mentioned the band. It wasn't apparent to me immediately, but it drew me in. So you might see that people doing that on eBay and other places. There's so-and-so is posing with one of their works of art or their painting. There's a lot of that, and even getting someone who's local, anybody that you know that's a friend, can help you tell people that they are entering into a kind of an inner circle, which is powerful. It influences people. They'd like to be in a circle of people who are also making the same purchase, the same decision, and meet those people so they feel more confident in that. If you're selling on eBay or Instagram, there could be an image of that person. And, you can invite that person to parties. Doesn't mean that they'll come. Mick Taylor, I'm sure, didn't come to these parties, or rarely. But just on the chance that it may happen, you feel like the collector feels like they are in an inner circle. So as a member of Praxis Center, all the students who are there get feedback on this critical step, which includes a review of your pricing structure, how the work is sold, so that the buyer feels that he or she is getting a great deal. You can do this on your own, of course, but if you want questions answered and guidance every step of the way, Praxis Center has your back. That's the center I direct, and I'll be there personally talking with you on this. So now here's step 4, automating sales. This gets a little more complicated, but this is for those who want to get really serious about that. You understand the steps that I've just mentioned, 1 through 3 that I've discussed. There's more details in all of these steps, like the exact wording that you're using, what case, but I have more ground to cover, and I don't want to keep you here all day. But now you understand, and you could use the methods I described. The next step, which is what people who are really serious about sales do, is making it happen automatically. So with all the steps I mentioned, the result you want is this: to get a customer to text you or send you a message through Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp, or whatever messaging app you prefer. That's the goal. You want people to be asking you every day about the price of something or another question about your art. This is what's called a warm lead in sales terminology. This is what everybody wants that's selling online, and it's very specific. It's not just, I want someone to buy it, right? You want someone to just send me the money. You want a customer every day, at least one or more, to be asking a question about the price of something. You want them engaged. You want that to happen every day. And you want it to happen automatically without you going crazy because you have plenty of other things to do. So in automating sales, these are some of the mistakes to avoid. The biggest mistake you can make at this stage, because automation, I'm sure it sounds pretty sexy to you, right? It's what everyone wants to get to, so sales just keep coming in. The very biggest mistake is this: to pay for ads on Facebook or Google to develop what's called warm leads without doing step 1, 2, and 3. You don't need to do it long, even if you have 0 people on your list now. In 3 to 6 months, you could do steps 1 to 3, and in 6 to 12 months, you could have sales coming in automatically. This is an advanced technique, but let me explain it. You have a process you are following in steps 1 to 3, right? And the process is about how to build a list of collectors with your e-marketing program, how to engage those collectors, and how to close a sale. Automation means these things happen automatically through online sales and your e-marketing program. You're not writing every week. You're not doing, inventing more things to say every week in your newsletter. It's all happening automatically. It's all been done already. You worked on it for, a few months through Praxis Center or on your own, however you're doing it, and it all happens automatically. The ad that you can run is your lead magnet that starts this process. So to step back a bit, automation is also called a funnel. And here is what a typical funnel looks like in this case. There's a lead magnet, which is an ad. And that ad could say something like, how to collect art, and has an image there, learn more about collecting art. But whatever the lead magnet ad is, that gives you their email, or it allows them to message you right away. Then a pre-written newsletter is sent to them, or a retargeted ad, which means an ad is sent to them through other means that says you are interested, you still want to learn more. Then inquiries about buying come in regularly, sales are closed online and shipped. So this is a more advanced technique, and it can get complicated, so I just want to be clear what's happening here. Number 1 is what's called a lead magnet, an ad. You get an email from that ad, or someone messages you right away. Then they start getting newsletters that are sent to them, or other ads, and inquiries keep coming in regularly. Sales are closed online and shipped. It's as simple as that. I wrote a whole book about this because it's complicated in some ways. You can learn to do this one step at a time, and you don't need a lot of money to do this. At first, you spend as little as possible, like $5 a day for a week, more or less, because you're testing the waters. Nobody jumps into ads spending $100 a day or hundreds a week. That doesn't make sense. You test it out carefully, slowly, with a little bit of money. At Praxis Center, you'll have tutorials about building a funnel, and there's an expert in the classroom that can answer all your funnel questions. You can do this on your own as well, but the complexity of automating sales is often intimidating. And Praxis Center has you covered with support every step of the way for any question you have. I mean, not only does my book outline all the methods for this, and you will get the book. You'll get the book actually at the end of this talk, but the support of Praxis Center will help this whole automated process greatly whenever you have a question or get stuck, because this is what everyone is doing who's selling online. And when you see ads about people who will teach you how to sell online, it is no more than this. It is about creating a sales funnel and doing it in the right way. Different people do ads in different ways to sell you on this process, but I'm telling you exactly what it is. And you can just do that on your own, learn more about it by Googling, or if you're in Praxis Center, you walk through the whole process. So here's the last step, which I think is the biggest. It's the business mindset. What does it mean to set up for business? It means taking it all very seriously, attitude and mantras, and watching the competition. Now, you may think, I take it seriously. I'm an artist. In a way, this is very difficult for artists because we often don't think of what we do as a business, right? It's art. There's a business mindset that's really important to adopt. And this is something that all business people do. Nobody really has this mindset to begin with. But the beginning thing is that you're building a kind of a machine, right, for sales that will automate them and make them continue to happen. It's like you can think of it as a well-oiled machine. What you're doing over time is simply tweaking that machine so it continues to work better and better. And that means taking it all very seriously. So what do I mean by attitude and mantras? You know, for business people, there are just a boatload of books on how to maintain a good attitude, how to not become negative, how to deal with, rejection, failure, sales that plateau. Because sometimes it's all working well. People are making sales. We're selling, 10 original paintings or prints or photographs, whatever it is, a month. But you can't get beyond selling that amount. And sometimes that can upset people and make you feel like this isn't working. This happens to every business. You have to continually monitor your attitude and recognize through analogies like I just mentioned that this is a well-oiled machine you're building and that the machine simply needs tweaking. This isn't about your art or about you not presenting well enough. It's about looking at it and analyzing exactly what's going on here so you can fix it. And it's also about watching the competition, watching what arts you do, other galleries that are selling work, other artists that are selling work. How are they doing it? What are they doing? Use the techniques that you're seeing out there. Adopt them for yourself. This is what every business does. Now, this is a webinar on selling online, right? It's unlike other webinars that I do. It's something we teach in Praxis Center. It's something that is not for every artist. You have to be willing to have this business mindset, to challenge yourself a little bit, and to be dedicated to that challenge. When I mentioned Abby Ryan before, the artist who was posting on eBay every day, that's an attitude not everybody could maintain. She was doing it for 6 months and had little or no sales, and the sales she had were very little. They were like $300 here or there. That'd be enough for anybody to give up. It went into a second year and that was still happening, and she was still doing it. That's quite an attitude to maintain. And, we have examples here like her to say that this attitude will pay off, but you'll never know that unless you stick to it. And you have a support group too. Helps, right? Praxis Center is a support group. So to talk about just setting up for business and go through these, having all the basic parts in order is important. Your email service needs to be activated so people can sign up to your list easily, and we talk in the class a lot about sign-up forms and the best ways to use them, pop-ups, but this is the basic parts. Your email service, whether it's MailChimp, Aweber, or whatever, has to be set up. Then there has to be ads that reach an audience that's interested. And then you have to have the ability to close the sale and receive the payment. Any one of these steps is missing and it won't work. For example, your email service could be set up, your ads could be reaching an audience, you could be getting messages and inquiries. But if you don't have the ability to close the sale and receive the payment, it won't happen. You'll come really close a whole bunch of times. So all these steps are important. And the attitude and mantra is, again, the essential, what I told you before, of what any entrepreneur is using. It's his attitude and how to reprogram negative voices or internal challenges when you face adversity. This is huge. This is just huge. Not something that artists are used to doing, and not something that people who are getting into any kind of business, whether it's selling t-shirts or anything, are used to doing. You will have days when negative voices are challenging you and you're not feeling worth it all, or you're not feeling that this process will work, or whatever it is. And it's not about that you're spending too much on this. It's about whether this process will continue to work, and you can hang in there. Having mantras, having an attitude, mantras is a kind of affirmation you tell yourself. And these are really important. As an artist, you already have a strong ego, a sense of self that you're making work that is good, that's worthy of hanging in people's homes. So you have a lot actually already happening that most entrepreneurs don't have. So it's really important to continue to reprogram negative voices or internal challenges when you face adversity. And watching the competition, who are they? You have to learn who else is selling art online and how are they doing it. Individual artists and galleries do it. All those businesses, watch and learn from them. Subscribe to their email lists. Watch them. You'll learn a lot that way, an awful lot. So now you probably understand this system a bit more, right? This is the Praxis system for selling art without selling out. The method is you're building a list of collectors, which we discussed how to do. You're interacting with those collectors. You're closing sales. You're creating a sales funnel. And then there is the all-important mindset. The step 4 is how everything gets automated, but 1, 2, and 3 have to also be in place so that those processes can be automated as well. So I know your heads may be exploding, so let me ask you this. If there was an easy way to sell your work online automatically while you are away, without endless business stuff, so that you can make more art and finally get the extra income you deserve in as little as a year, would you take it? It's a challenge, right? Even if you think, I can't sell, that's why I haven't sold much, or I am not tech savvy enough to do this. Even if you can't stand the computer, or you're older or disabled or not near a big city, even if you have too little time for this stuff and your spouse is not very supportive, even if you've tried all this before, it never seems to work, and you always end up in the same place with less money, more disappointments of closing sales. Sounds a bit out there, right? So allow me to introduce Praxis Center students. Here are a few videos that students have made to talk about how they use the resources at Praxis Center to get grants, to sell art, to find patrons in galleries. Because being part of Praxis Center will not only walk you through all of this, but it will also, all of this about selling art online, but you'll also learn about grants and finding patrons and more. This is Crystal Fischetti. And if you can't hear all the volume, I will talk about it afterwards.
Galleries and museums even, and acquire patrons in a way that they weren't going to say no, and it was just so incredible for my career. I have more confidence now. I'm currently back in London and I'm doing my MA, which I'm really excited about, and honestly Brainerd has been so incredible and so helpful and communicative with me and with all of the artists, and I really highly recommend the service. Thank you, Brainerd.
That was Crystal, obviously talking about the whole thing. And here's Jonathan Herbert, another artist. These captions are generated by YouTube, so they're often not perfect, but you'll get a sense of what's happening.
I'm the artist Jonathan. I have benefited greatly from the courses and the community of Brainerd Carey's Praxis Center. I have moved forward in terms of exhibits, sales, grant applications, social media marketing, and press. These major breakthroughs I credit to the courses and community of Praxis Center and my own hard efforts. The unparalleled resources of Praxis make it a one-stop resource for artists to move their art out into the world. I am one happy customer.
So I hope you could read some of that. I know the volume is never quite loud enough on some of these. To be clear, Jonathan is an artist from who's in Florida. Crystal Fischetti was in London, and now this is Jeannie Motherwell. Perhaps you recognize that last name. She is the daughter of Robert Motherwell, also a student in the class.
Hi there. My name is Jeannie Motherwell, and when I was applying for Guggenheim last year, the resources and ongoing support I received from Raynard Carey's Praxis Center, as well as the community of artists and the courses that were offered to me, were invaluable in giving me the necessary tools to complete and submit a comprehensive application. I continue to paint and exhibit in several galleries, and I think Praxis Center is a wonderful resource for artists at all levels of their studio practice, from emerging to mid-career and to mature. I can honestly say it's a wonderful community and resource for artists.
So that's Jeannie Motherwell, and these are some of the people that are in the group. So what if I told you it takes less time each week than your grocery shopping? Typically, an artist in the school sees rapid progress in a year just working at this 30 minutes a week. And I'm serious, 30 minutes a week. What if I told you it's easy as following a recipe for roasting chicken? For example, you get video walkthroughs and questions answered every step of the way, as well as examples to follow. All you have to do is fill them out. It's almost all done for you. And what if I told you a first-year art student with no experience can do it without any training? Or that a mid-career artist that has gallery representation for years and is now out of a gallery can also do it? Or, you know, again, career artists that you know, that need more representation, that you wouldn't even have to make endless phone calls, emails, and business stuff, because I know you just want to make art, not spend all your time asking for support. That you don't need to be young, beautiful, big city artist with trendy avant-garde work. That all it takes is to have a little faith. That those who have the faith and take the leap and follow the steps are rewarded with sales. And if you want to learn more about the other aspects of the art world, those who have the faith and take the leap are rewarded with exhibits and patrons and grants and prestigious biennials and press, as well as sales, like you just heard. It seems impossible, maybe. Here are some of the people in the group. These are right from Facebook posts. You're in a private group. Did a group show at a gallery last Friday. Thanks for the encouragement. Confirmation of a first sponsor donation. Woo! Yael says, I'm thrilled to be included and was one of 14 exhibition lobbies at the Oakland building. Lynette, regards to the value of exhibiting at nonprofits. My intaglio print was selected for display at a juried international exhibit at the Hopkins Center for Arts in Minnesota. It was selected for the traveling exhibit to be displayed at the American Swedish Institute. It also sold for $1,200, the most I've ever sold a print for. Now I just applied for a solo exhibit at Hopkins and will do so at other art centers in Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minneapolis, where I live. It helps me reach different audiences than galleries or at High Point Center for printmaking, where I'm a co-op member. 2 member exhibits offered annually. And by the workshop she said she missed, there's talks every week. You know, she watched the videos afterwards. There's live talks every week. Another one, Laura said, I got $1,500 using this letter. It was approved by Fractured Atlas, my fiscal sponsor that I learned about through this course. It would be embarrassing to tell you how much time it took to write this, but I want a year in the studio with all of my heart. You see the letters these people are writing. She said, using this letter, you see her letter. She used the templates that were given to her. And this happened, coverage in the national newspaper, the Times, Scottish edition, through press releases I forwarded to a journalist that were edited in the class. Barbara says she sold 5 prints to the Judas Ellis Glickman Lauder collection, had an exhibit in Portland, Maine. Those were photographs where the Lauders are associated. The curator showed them the body of work. That's my first sale of the work from American Bedroom. As soon as I landed on my feet from a long trip in the South, I want to learn more from Praxis about galleries, museums, and patrons. Lance Jackson got 400 in donations and sold a drawing for $225, off to write more letters. So, if you want to wake up to an automated funnel sending you a message from 5 interested buyers, start your day by making art instead of business stuff on social media because several sales came through, or that patron donation covered most of the expenses. Or have lunch with a collector who wants to talk about a commission. Go to bed satisfied, gratified, and feeling like you're getting the recognition you deserve in the art world. Go through your week with more time in the studio and far less resentment at the art market, because other people are believing in you now and proving it by buying your work or being a patron. You want to look at your calendar and see, I'm having a winter residency in Berlin, then an exhibit there, and off to see the Venice Biennial and a few other major art biennials around the globe, and a summer residency in Italy or Holland, all funded in full by your sponsors. Your calendar for the year says the artist has made it. I want that for you right here, right now. That's why I built Praxis Center. So this is the Praxis Center membership, the VIP edition that I'm introducing and that is now available for a limited time, because I can only talk to so many students at a time and give them all the attention you deserve. This is everything you need to make it in the art world in one place. Classes and personal support to navigate the art world and sell your art. From online sales to studio and gallery sales, more exhibitions, more recognition. It shows you how the art world really works so you can get more support from peers and collectors. It helps you get into prestigious shows and museums and biennials and finally get the kind of international recognition and raving reviews that drive sales. It helps you get grants and sponsors and patrons to support your work with personal support from professional editors, gallerists, and grant writers, without the need to do endless phone calls, emails, and business stuff, without the need to face humiliating rejection and the dreaded silence of an email that has not been responded to in as little as 1 year, even if your work isn't trendy or avant-garde, even if you can't write or network or negotiate and suck at all the business stuff. I get it. Even if you can't go out to shows or are not near a big city. Here's a small sample of the gems in your VIP edition of Praxis Center membership. I'm going to explain how to use these insider tactics for never-ending supply of exhibits in prestigious galleries, museums, and biennials, and why you need to question every single person who tells you to do work for free to get exposure, and what to do instead if you want recognition from art critics, glowing reviews all over the press, and powerful curators discovering your work. What never to do in artist statements, bios, and press releases if you want to avoid humiliating rejections. You also get non-online courses so you can learn how the art world really works, from the comfort of your home at your own pace without paying for travel and lodging. These are the courses. One is Getting Your Art Exhibited, which is a step-by-step guide to approaching galleries, getting your work shown, and letter templates and scripts to call galleries, in a virtual classroom where you can ask questions and get personal feedback from a professional gallerist. Grant writing, how to find, write, and win grant applications. By the end of the course, you'll have a completed grant you can be proud of, and fresh grant lists and opportunities every month, just for you. Artist statements, bios, and press releases, you'll learn how to write yours, so grant agencies, galleries, and journalists can't help but call you back. And an editor will personally edit your statement and bio. Social media strategy and web design. I'll review your website personally. Steps to build or redesign your website, and social media secrets to get discovered online with minimum effort will also be taught. Selling art online, and this is the webinar this is what this webinar is all about, right? This will take you by the hand and walk you through every step you need to build an online sales strategy and automate it all. Kickstarter School for Artists is all you need to know about launching a successful Kickstarter project. You could use this for all the other crowdsourcing platforms as well, including how to contact celebrities and high-profile individuals to help your campaign. Time management for artists, creating more studio time, how to effectively manage it and be in the studio. This is crucial, right? How do people manage time so you can work 30 minutes or whatever you want a day or a week on business stuff and still do all the other obligations in your life? Taxes and financial planning, from filing taxes to choosing an accountant to investing, estate planning. Art theory and essential reading for artists. This is a great course, books to read and discuss, which will give context to your work and help with writing about your work. You know, there are these legendary workshops like the Whitney Independent Study, and essentially they have a series of books that they discuss. And that helps artists reference them in their work and in their life. And it helps them enormously in their career. With these industry tactics at your fingertips, you go from, I give up, I'm going to paint in obscurity, to, wow, this is cool. I'm getting commissions and sales in as little as a year. But that's not all. You also get an Insider Art Lounge, which are expert lectures, residencies, private dealers, art critics, grant writers, New York gallerists. So you can discover the kind of secrets that make or break art careers. These are lectures that are in the class every week. All these expert lectures you'll have on a whole variety of topics, and you can suggest lectures, and these are happening all the time. There's a mentor network where you can ask these experts questions in the group so they will answer. You can always find the right way forward if you get lost or confused or frustrated. There's a gallerist, a dealer, a curator, and a writer who are there to answer questions. And the guest lectures are huge. You know, for the first time, they're taught directly by people who have succeeded, like galleries showing you how to get into a gallery, grant writers explaining how to make a great proposal. So you know what really works, and the answer to how the hell did that mediocre artist get this? There'll be a professional editor for your bio and statement, so you get it edited personally and stand out from the crowd and don't have to worry about what exactly you're doing wrong in there. And there's also, if you're not sure what to read into a gallery's response, you ask a gallerist, you ask me. Never again spend weeks agonizing over what to do and whether they hate your work. There's new lists published every month, personally handpicked, not just a dump. Be the first to know when a grant or residency is accepting applications. A private Facebook group that this happens in is access to a community of artists, art professionals, and teachers, so you don't feel isolated and you get the emotional support you need. It's huge, right? Without a support system, it's nearly impossible to do all this stuff. Van Gogh had Theo, right? What do you have? You'll also get a digital copy of my book, Making It in the Art World. And the most generous bonuses for artists who want to feel like very important artists and purchase the VIP edition of Praxis Center membership is my signature course, which is beyond all the rest. It's patrons and sponsors. That's how people who you saw early get all that money. Imagine how your practice would change if you knew how to find the names of potential local patrons and how to meet them, how to befriend these people and create lasting patrons for your practice, and master the art of approaching businesses for sponsorship, all while creating a valuable network of peers, colleagues, and experts in the field. Again, a professional editor, which in this case is me, for your sponsor letters and applications. Continued support from a professional editor for as long as you remain in the program, so you keep getting your letters and applications edited. Dear Abby, you know, if you're not sure what to read into a response, you ask questions, and you'll have your communicated reviewed personally by me, as well as other students and people that are lecturers in that class. You'll get your website reviewed by me. You'll also have access to all my future books ahead of the general public. I've written 6 books. My publisher keeps asking me to write more, often based on the courses that I'm doing. So you'll get advanced digital review copies, like the art critics and curators in the author's inner circle. This amounts to a very real value of about $6,570 a year, or over $500 a month. But I'm not charging you that. In fact, not even a quarter of that. And still giving you 10 times more value, more impact, and more results. But there's a catch. You only get this price within the next 5 days. After that, the price goes back to full. Here it is. And there's it's everything that I mentioned. It's $59 a month or $595 a year, where you save 18%. So right now you can get the Praxis Center membership for $59 a month. You get instant access to all of this, and you can take these courses in any order that you want. You know, this is the only program on earth that has everything you need to make it in one place. So I'm not going to read everything on this slide because we've covered that. You will also get it all instantly, starting within the next 60 seconds, and start seeing results immediately. So here are a few hard questions for you. Would you rather start selling your artwork or keep dealing with how unfair the art world is as you pay another month's storage fees for all your unsold artwork? Would you rather be a starving artist who toils away in obscurity, or an international one with income and generous patrons and sponsors? Because that's what it all boils down to, right? Choices. If all this system does is to get you the freedom to be, do, or live the way you desire, or get you from toiling away in obscurity to get the peer recognition and commercial success you deserve, or finally allow you to break free from paying for a show and not selling art, would you agree that $59 a month is a tiny price to pay? It's almost insignificant, really. There it is. You really only have three options at this point. You can choose to hire a high-priced consultant and pay them thousands with no guarantees. You can choose to do it on your own with no help, and then there's the dreaded silence of a sales strategy that's not working, and you don't have someone to talk to say what's going wrong in this portion of my funnel or wherever you are. The choice is yours. I should remind you that there is absolutely no risk for you to try this, literally zero negative consequences. You can buy without worrying about losing your money. We offer 30-day money-back guarantees. Your dignity, we won't shame you for refunding. I get it. So you too can do what Jonathan did in the video, so you can overcome what Crystal overcame in getting patrons and support. So you can have support like Jeannie Motherwell for grants and everything else that she uses it for. This is your chance, and now is your time. You can use the links here, or I will post them in the chat. I'll take lots of questions now, but this is the end of the webinar. If I don't get to any questions, you can always email me. Respond to any of my emails, and I'll get back to you. But I want to thank you all for being here today. It's really always my pleasure to give these webinars. I love doing this, and the reason I love doing this is because this was all the information I wanted early in my career, and I couldn't find it anywhere, and I really wished I could. So I'm thrilled to offer this. I am equally thrilled that artists are benefiting from it. I have just a whole drive full of testimonials of everybody talking about this. And I send those out weekly. You've probably seen a lot of those. What's most important to me, and I continue to value every day, I answer questions pretty much daily in the group with different students. What I really value is the support in this group that all the members give each other. There's not only these nuts and bolts sales of, rules on how to do everything and instructions that lead you through it all, but the support in the group is just incredible. How members support each other. Before I even get to a question, there's often many other students who are answering it because they know where you're coming from. The other students get it. You can't find something, you're unsure about something, they're working on it too, and many of them have been through it before. So to me, it is, of course, all the courses, everything that's here. And then I want to say one more thing, that when you're paying $59 a month or $595 a year, there's something that happens. $59 a month is small, right? But it's not insignificant. You can spend that money on something else. What happens when you pay that kind of money every month is you want this to work from you. You want this to work. You want your money back. You want a lot of money from this, or certainly to pay for all of it. there's an incentive there. You want this to happen. You want that money to pay, and it will. That's the idea of this whole course. It's about practical applications. And again, you can start any of these courses in any order you want, spend whatever time you want. It's about practical applications, seeing you sell work and get international recognition, whatever it is that you want, grants, all kinds of stuff that are on here. So again, thank you all for being here. I should stop now and answer questions. Again, if I don't get to your questions on the chat, don't hesitate to reply to any of my emails and answer the question that you have. So thank you again for being an artist. You know, I admire artists more than anybody because, I mean, not more than anybody, I admire artists enormously because I believe art is a transformational force. It's what changes the world. It's what, it's a force of beauty, of resistance, of love. And I'm happy to be part of this. And I'm really happy to see all the support that artists are giving each other in this group. And if you become a member, I'm sure you'll be happy too, because you'll feel that support and you'll see things developing right away. So again, thank you all. Have a wonderful day or evening whenever you're listening to this. And I wish you well in your studio practice and everything that you do. Be well.